Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'll show you a romantic horror film named Let the Right One In. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie begins with a wondrous display of snow falling upon the empty streets. Then we shift to a young boy named Oskar, who's looking at his own reflection in the window. He gets distracted when he spots a car reaching his building. There's a little girl and an old but shady man named Shady, both of whom step out of the car. Oskar doesn't seem to know them, so he resumes with his own reflection and suddenly pulls out a knife. He then asks someone to squeal like a pig, but he's the only one inside his room. Realizing that his mom might walk in on him, Oskar proceeds to hide the knife under his bed. It seems as if Shady and the little girl are living next door to Oskar. Shady covers up his windows, which seems suspicious because this means he's blocking sunlight from entering the house. Now we move to the next day, when Oskar is seen in class during an awareness lesson. The teacher talks about a series of crimes in the neighborhood, including a recent case of arson. The teacher asks the class about safety measures, and Oskar immediately answers the question with ease. However, we quickly realize that Oskar isn't respected in class as a bunch of bullies make fun of him. Their leader, named Bully, likes to harass Oskar, and he keeps calling him a pig. This makes us understand why Oskar was talking about squealing like a pig earlier in his room. He is being bullied by his peers at school, which is leading him to develop violent tendencies while at home alone. Later, we see Shady up to no good, hinting that he has shady intentions and could possibly be the one committing the criminal acts mentioned earlier by the teacher. After the sunset, Shady catches an unsuspecting man and greets him in a friendly manner. However, he quickly knocks out the unsuspecting man with ease using his shady chemicals. Shady proceeds to hang his victim upside down in the middle of the snowy forest. He drains the blood of his victim, so it could be possible that he is collecting this blood to feed someone. Luck doesn't seem to be on his side though, as Shady is found by a good boy dog who wanders off from his owners and barks at him, as if it can smell his shady shit. Shady tries to shoo it away, but the good boy dog continues to bark, and the sound alerts his owner, who comes rushing toward the dog. Shady doesn't have a choice, so he runs away like a shady chicken. Now the owner finds the good boy dog, but also notices the poor victim's body. The good boy dog goes on to drink from the blood puddle on the ground, possibly turning him into a bad boy vampire. Once again, we see Oskar practicing his own bully instincts by using his knife on a tree while talking to himself. He is suddenly caught in the act by the little girl we saw with Shady. Her name is revealed to be Eli, and she tells Oskar that she lives next door to him now. Surprisingly, Eli also says that she can't be his friend, probably because he talks to himself like a psycho. Eli walks away after this, leaving Oskar alone with his thoughts and his knife. Then we see Shady getting scolded by Eli, who is upset with the way he handled his latest victim. She goes on to say that she will have to get the job done herself, which most definitely confirms her to be a vampire. The next day at school, Oskar has to deal with more bullying during his classes, and then we see him at home. Oskar's mom is growing worried about the supposed serial killer in town and talks to her friends about it over the phone. Oskar doesn't seem too bothered by her panic, but rather brings out some newspapers so that he can study the killer's murders. This hints at the fact that Oskar is developing a desire to harm others. We now move to a cafe where a man named Buddy is talking to his friends. The main topic of the conversation is the efficiency of the government, but then the group spots Shady and seems to recognize him. They want to include him in their group, so Buddy walks up to him and tries to start a conversation. However, Shady acts shady and quickly walks away after giving a random excuse. Now Mom goes to work and leaves Oskar alone at home. He plays with a Rubik's Cube outside in the snow and is then greeted by Eli. She acts like she's fascinated by the cube, but is actually interested in Oskar and his hormones. Anyway, she asks Oskar how to use the cube. Oskar quickly teaches Eli the ways of the cube, and then he hands it over to her. Eli starts working on it, but seems to be smelly, so Oskar asks her if she's showered. Eli casually brushes his question aside and says she's fine. Oskar doesn't bother much and walks away, but Eli clearly seems to be in some kind of distress. At night, we see Buddy bidding farewell to his friend, and then the friend heads home, but comes across a little girl begging for help in a chicken voice inside a tunnel. The innocent friend offers his support to her, but is attacked by the chicken girl, who bites his neck not like a chicken, but like a vampire. A catman watches on in fear, but from a distance, as we learn that the vampire girl is none other than Eli herself. Catman doesn't report this incident to the authorities, but Buddy's group learns about their friend, so they rush to the scene. However, they can't find his body anywhere because Shady is already getting busy and disposing of it. This means that Shady is helping Eli survive by bringing her blood from human victims. The next day, Oskar gives us a smile while playing with his Rubik's Cube, which means he's got a thing for Eli. He eagerly waits for the day to pass so that he can go meet Eli at their spot once more. They finally make a formal introduction to each other and talk about their respective ages. Eli solves the Rubik's Cube with ease, and Oskar offers it as a gift to her, thus strengthening their friendship even further. The next day in school, classes get over, but Oskar stays back for some notes. He leaves school when it's dark, but is caught by Bully and his gang. They want to know what Oskar was writing, but he doesn't give them a satisfactory response. Now, Oskar gets injured in a terrible sequence, but then his mom arrives, so the bullies run their smelly butts away as fast as Ferrari horses. Oskar tells his mom that he fell down, but gives Eli the truth. She is upset to hear this, so she tells Oskar to hit back, even if the bullies are outnumbering him. Shady watches on with jealousy as Oskar and Eli become best friends. The both of them even start communicating with each other in Morse code through the common wall they share. Afterward, Oskar decides to join weightlifting classes to increase his strength and muscles. He then offers Eli a treat, and she refuses it at first, but eventually consumes it. Eli becomes sick from the treat because her vampire genes will only accept human blood. Oskar hugs Eli, revealing that he likes her a lot, and says he would feel the same way even if she wasn't a girl. This makes Eli fall for him, but she acts normal for now. After that, Oskar goes to meet his dad, whose hormone deal with his mom had gone sour. As they enjoy their time together, we see Shady warning Eli about other people being able to identify his face. He asks her not to see Oskar that night, and she silently agrees. Now, Shady goes to Oskar's school and shows his shady intentions. He kidnaps one of the school kids and is about to make him his latest victim, but his friends come looking for him. Shady takes an acid bowl and hides, while the boys save their friend. Fearing the worst, Shady pours the acid on himself so that the cops don't recognize him. Eli is seen all by herself, and then she watches the news talking about Shady's arrest. Luckily, his identity hasn't been confirmed due to the acid attack. Eli goes to the hospital and finds out where Shady is being kept, so she walks out and flies to the top of the building. She greets Shady, who's got an ugly face now, and he decides to end his shady and ugly life by allowing Eli to drink his diabetic blood. With the life drained out of him, Shady falls off the building, and Eli escapes fast like a chicken riding a Tesla bike. Meanwhile, Buddy wakes up in the middle of the night and tells his girlfriend Babe that he wants to find the culprit who killed his friend. Eli goes to Oskar's window and asks for his permission to enter the room because she's a vampire. Oskar lets her inside, and she undresses to flex her unblurred body, after which she lies next to him. Oskar asks Eli to be his girlfriend, but she tells him she's actually not a girl. Despite the awkward conversation, Eli agrees to go slow with Oskar because she has no one else left in this world. Oskar wakes up the next day but can't find any hormone trace of Eli apart from a note. It's time for a skating adventure in school, but Bully is already planning something sinister. He and his friends go to Oskar, but he is holding a stick for self-defense. Bully wants to take Oskar for a swim, but he refuses and smacks Bully with the stick. Bully cries like a chicken and is attended to by his teachers while Oskar enjoys his new attitude. Of course, Mom scolds Oskar for his actions and tells Dad to have a word with him. However, Dad is far more relaxed with Oskar. The next day, Eli watches Oskar taking a swim after his smelly workout. She then takes him to her home and he starts talking about how he stood up to Bully. Eli congratulates him and plays some music to enjoy their time together. However, Oskar cuts his hand and offers to make a blood pact with Eli. She gets tempted by his blood and quickly drinks the puddle forming on the floor. She tells Oskar to go away, after which she also escapes and hides on top of a tree to cover her fishy body. Now we see Buddy talking to Catman and his friends about their deceased friend, but Babe doesn't seem too concerned. Buddy scolds her for her behavior, but it only leads Babe to walk away. Buddy chases after her sexy body, but then Eli attacks Babe for a blood recharge. Buddy kicks Eli away and tends to Babe, so Eli makes a quick escape. Babe is made to rest at home, but the sunlight enters her room and burns her skin. This means that Babe has also become a vampire thanks to Eli's bite. On the other side, we see Oskar chilling with Dad, but they are interrupted by a bearded man. Dad changes his mood and starts to drink and smoke with the bearded man, which makes Oskar upset. He looks back at the message Eli left him, and we learn that it was a farewell note. Babe goes to meet Buddy and Catman, whose army of cats doesn't seem to like her vampire hormones. They attack Babe without mercy, and Buddy is confused by what he sees. Babe is taken to the hospital, and then Oskar goes to meet Eli. She finally confesses that she is a vampire and needs human blood to survive. It turns out that Eli has been at the same age for a very long time, and she proves it by showing a silver egg. She claims that it is valuable enough to buy a nuclear power plant, and shows the golden ball inside the egg. Eli offers some cash to Oskar, but he refuses it, because he thinks it's money she stole from her victims. Eli says that she's earned this money, but Oskar leaves regardless. Meanwhile, Babe tells Buddy that Eli has inflected her, and she doesn't want to live her sexy life anymore. She seems to have lost all hope, so she asks her doctor to open the blinds, and this leads to Babe lighting up and burning to damnation, while Buddy and the doctor helplessly watch her. At school, Oskar spots Bully getting bullied by his older brother, so he figures everything is a vicious circle. Eli shows up at Oscar's house and asks him to invite her inside. He wants to know what will happen if she enters anyway, so she walks in. Suddenly, Eli starts to bleed aggressively, so Oskar immediately invites her inside and hugs her. Now, Eli tells Oskar that they are similar because she needs to kill, and he wants to kill. She asks him to be like her for a bit, and then we see Eli in her older form, almost like a granny. Eli takes a naked shower and changes into Mom's clothes, which Oskar appreciates. However, Mom shows up, so Oskar has to send Eli back to her place. Eli and Oskar continue to hang out, but Buddy wants revenge for what Eli did to Babe. The next day, Oskar goes to Eli's home and finds a note saying she's in the bathroom. Then Buddy breaks into the house and looks around for Eli, so Oskar hides from him. Buddy enters the bathroom and finds Eli sleeping under a lot of blankets. He then goes to open the blinds, but Oskar stops him from doing so. Eli wakes up and attacks Buddy, ending his budding life after a brief struggle. With another dead body on her hands and the neighbor upstairs complaining about the disturbance, Eli has to leave, so she gives Oskar a bloody kiss and vanishes into thin air. Oskar comes back home to his screaming mom, but he ignores her bullshit and locks himself inside his room. Elsewhere, Bully and his gang plan something sinister to punish Oskar. During a swimming class, the instructor is told about a fire, so he goes to take care of it. However, the Bully group made the fire on purpose so that they could be alone with Oskar. Bully's brother forces Oskar to stay underwater for 3 minutes, otherwise he'll poke out one of his eyes. Things are looking bad for Oskar, but then we see body parts flying around everywhere. It turns out that Oskar is rescued by Eli, who looks at him with bloody eyes in the middle of her massacre. The movie ends with Oskar on a train, and he taps Morse code on a giant box, which means Eli is hidden inside it, and they have set out to live a new life together. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.